Okay, so welcome everybody. I was so excited to start this and to start the journey. First of all, you guys can put on your cameras if you want to show your faces. But yeah, I was too excited to start this journey to wait for such a long time. So then Marge and I had this idea to kind of get to know you guys and to inform you before we start the election process. So yeah, as you girls know, I'm Marigen Vlok, the head mentor for 2021, and I am studying BSc Human Life Science. I'm third year, but I'm not getting my degree this year. And as you get to know me, you will kind of hear the backside story to that, but that's not for now. So yeah, I've loved being part of RSDR since the first day I've been placed in it, and I love taking part in so much of the activities that they give. So yeah, I just want you guys to kind of experience that same journey that I've had with RSDR, and this seemed like a good start to kind of let you guys know what you're in for. So firstly, I'm going to introduce our panel that we have today. So we have Sarah Hook from RSDR. She's been a mentor, and that's where her and I got to be friends or become friends. She was elected as head mentor for the 2019-2020 years. And then also she was the head mentor for this year. And then we have Chris van Vieren, all the way from Pika, joining us. He was also a mentor and elected as head mentor in 2019-2020. And he's also the new prim of Pika for 2020-2021. And then last but not least, we have Cameron Smith, who I know has served on as head mentor for the 2019-2020 period at Equite, and she has also been elected as their new prim for 2020-21. So I would just like to say thank you to them for joining us for this, for taking your time tonight, and also for sticking with me through all of the changes the last few days. So we can kick it off by having them tell you what to expect for this year, and just to give you the backside of what is going to clap the year ahead. I think we can go in like the order of Sarah, Chris, Cameron, and if you guys want to then add to what a person said, then you guys can do that as well.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. As Mich said, I was the previous head mentor for the 2019-2020 term, and I was also a mentor in 2018-2019. I'm a journalist. I'm in my honours year studying journalism, and that's just a little bit about me. I wasn't a mentor in my second year. I actually only stood to be a mentor for my third year. And the reason I stood then and I waited a little bit was because I went through my first year and my second year of university, and I realized I wasn't a part of anything. And I didn't really have friends outside of my classes. And I was like, oh, okay, you kind of need to get involved somewhere and do something with your life other than study. So then I applied to be a mentor, and I was very shocked when I was a mentor, when I got elected to be a mentor. But Aristia really gave me the opportunity to be a part of something. And I never really believed in the sisterhood until I was actually a part of it and experiencing Aristia in its mentorship program. And that has made a huge impact in my life in terms of the community that I found, the friendships I've made, but it's also sort of ignited that passion that I have for women and leadership and empowering other people. So I feel that Aristia's mentorship program, not only can you get a lot out of it, but you are so aware of the impact that you can have in other people's lives too, which is amazing. And I think I wanted to stand for head mentor because I didn't really want my mentoring journey to end. So when it kind of came to the end, I was like, no, I can't stop this now. So then I applied to be head mentor, and that's been great because I get to mentor the mentors, and I think that's just one of the coolest roles to have. And I think that one of the things that I think is really important is that welcoming is great and it's a lot of fun, and you get to start those friendships with your mentees and you really get to grow with them. But you only get the most out of Aristea and out of your PSO when you continue after welcoming. You know, you go through all that hype and you really go for it, and at the end you're so tired, and then but it was all worth it. But if you stop there and you're not involved from that point on, you're really selling yourself short and you're really limiting yourself. So I really want to encourage you to take the position seriously when you stand for it, because you're only going to get the most out of it when you stand and you avail yourself wholeheartedly for the whole year. Because when you look back at welcoming, you're like, wow, that was a great time. I had the best time. I made new friends. I really grew as a person. That feeling is like 100 times better at the end of the year when you look back at your time and you're like, wow, I grew so much and I got to grow other people and I got to see them shine too. And as somebody who's coming to the end of my university career, seeing my mentees grow over the last few years has, like, nothing brings me more joy. Masi, one of the new haka, is now, she was my mentee 2 years ago, and seeing her grow has just been like, wow, I'm so proud. So I really want to say mentoring is not just those 2 weeks of welcoming. It's a journey, and I really want to encourage you guys to allow yourself onto that journey. It is the best thing that you can do, not only for Aristea and for the house and for other people, but it is the best opportunity that you could give yourself. So yeah, I'm so excited to see all of you stand to be a mentor next year. Over and out.
Okay, I assume we're just going to jump to me. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris van Vieren. I'm the old head mentor for Pikke, and I'm the newly elected prim as well, like Marigen said. And I stood for mentor in my second year. I was mentor in my second year, but for a bit of a different reasoning. In my first year, I was a walkover, and I didn't get the full experience, and I wasn't welcomed with open arms to an extent. And I saw that as a big opportunity for me to give the people after me the experience that I wanted to get and not necessarily got. So I went into my mentoring journey with the idea of being a safe space for people, making myself available to listen to people, to not necessarily give advice, but just to chat with them, see what they're thinking about the whole university system, how they can adjust, because that is a massive part about the university. The jump from high school is insane, or even the jump from a gap year. So yeah, that was my main reason for standing for mentor, and I really enjoyed that as well. So the biggest thing for me for mentor was the friendships I made along the way, and not only in Pikke, but in other residences and PSOs as well. Some of my best friends are from Aristea as well, and from Pikke too. I currently live with one of my best friends that was also a mentor in my second year. So it's a great way to build relationships, build friendships, and just continue with developing yourself. I think that is a massive reason for me as well. I'm very passionate about leadership development and self-enrichment and just continuous progress. I think if you stop progressing or stop trying to push yourself, you're never going to get that far in life. So this is a massive opportunity for you guys to do that and just push yourself and enjoy the time. So the reason why I stood for head mentor and not for mentor or general haka again was to still be a part of the mentoring system, like Sarah said, to be a mentor to the mentors in a sense. But I approached it as being more of a friend working alongside them instead of like this father figure and trying to help them in that way. And it's paid dividends because our new haka consists of 5 old haka and 5 mentors. So I've worked well with all of them. It's just a massive pat on the back for myself, and it's just something that I can smile and look back on and say, I did an okay job. So that's something I'm really proud of. And yeah, welcoming is definitely a massive journey, and it's such a fun part of university. It's a bit draining, I'm not going to lie. You're going to have a lot of stress on yourself, but that's why you have a great team surrounding yourself, and you have Marichen there to lead you to. So yeah, I have no doubt that you guys will have an amazing experience. And like Sarah said, if you think your journey for mentoring is going to stop after welcoming, you are far, far off. It is the best part of being a mentor only comes afterwards. So definitely stick around, and I'm really keen to see what you guys can bring to the table for Aristea.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I think I'm echoing. Just a second. I think that's better. Am I still echoing? Am I fine? All right. Thank you, Chris and Sarah. I'm actually two other head mentors that I have really looked up to and admired from afar in my head mentor journey as well. So it's really great to be on a panel with you. Hi, Aristea, prospective mentors. I am Cameron. I am in my final year of BA International Studies. So I major in politics and history. So I was also a mentor at Equite in my second year, But in my second year, I actually stood for HARCA and I didn't get into HARCA. And boy, oh boy, was I grateful that I actually did not get into HARCA. Because from HARCA, I chose to go on to mentorship. And that was honestly one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've been involved in leadership since school, very, very much so. And I've always immersed myself in leadership to the point where I got to university and was drained of leadership, but I thought, how else can I still be involved in it without draining myself? And getting involved in my PSO was one of those ways where there wasn't huge demands to be more than who you are. Who you are was perfect. And doing that in a mentorship position, to be able to get everybody else, your mentees particularly, to be able to see that and to understand that when they come into a setting, you need to be like Chris said, their safe space, and let them feel how they need to feel and what they need to be without setting an expectation for them. So I think it's important to lay that that foundation, first of all. And yes, welcoming is not just the mentorship. The Be Well mentor program is the whole year. And I can say my mentors, I'm still in contact with them. Up till this morning, I was messaging a few of them. And I'm now the Prim of Equite, and I have 5 of my mentees on my HARCA team with me. So I think that for me, it just blows my mind as to how much of an impact you can have as a mentor. And I just want to say, you're going to go in with a whole lot of expectations. Prepare to have those expectations either go far beyond what you ever imagined or not met at all. Don't go in with any expectations. Go in with an open mind and an open heart and an open soul. And I think that is one of the best ways that you'll be able to have a successful year that is also progressive towards your mentees and progressing who they are. Because you're also there to develop them and to enhance and to be able to, what is the word? to see what is special in them, to how they can utilize it in this platform that we've given them through the PSO and through the university at large. But I also want to say is something that I did, and I tended to mother hen my mentees to the point where they weren't becoming overly independent throughout the year. And then in the middle of the year, I had to say, okay, Cameron, how do you go about allowing for them to be independent? Because I couldn't get called in the middle of a class saying, Cameron, how do I get to this place in Maine? There needs to be something that, so you need to set boundaries is important. I did not set boundaries. And I felt like I had 25 babies at a point. So understand that you need to be able to say, I will guide you, I will not mother you. So setting boundaries is very, very important. Something else I wanted to say. So yeah, that's about it from my side. enjoy it. I always have a saying that she who leaves a trail of glitter is never forgotten. So leave your glitter with your mentees, with the house at large. Whatever is meant to be will be for you. Right.
Thank you very much, all three of you. I think there's going to be some quotes that I'm going to remember from this, and some things that I obviously could also relate to and obviously learn from as well, because you guys have more experience than I do. And I hope that our newcomers and all of the girls that are potentially applying for HARCA, that you found this helpful in some way, even if it was just to find a nice Instagram quote here from Cami. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of tell you guys what I expect, but I think they summed up a lot of it really well. And then yeah, so I'm just going to kick off with that. So first of all, one of my biggest things that I live by is kindness. So I expect you guys to be kind to everyone, no matter what the situation or what gets thrown your way. Just always remain kind, and then whatever the outcome is, you will always know that you were kind, you did your best, so you can feel okay about it. And then I want you guys to be there for your mentees. Obviously, that is what mentoring is to be there for them, especially during welcoming, but also, as Cami now said, not to mother hen them, because there was one or two girls that have said in the past that they feel like they came to university and they felt like they're grown up now, but then they get placed in a mentor group that makes them feel like a little kid again. And that's also not what we are here for. We are here to guide them. If they need help, you help them, but not to smother them. And then I want you guys to bring gees. Guys, this is so important to me. I need gees, and I need it consistently throughout the year, because yes, you are a mentor, but you are also part of a leadership position in Aristia, and I feel like having the gees, that just filters down to everyone else in the house. So if the leadership have gees, the rest of the girls will feel it, and then we can just take the house further with that regard as well. So just consistently throughout the year without stop. And then I want you guys to know that you won't always have all of the answers, but then it's okay to ask for help as well. Even if you are a mentor, you are not supposed to know everything. I still don't know everything. That's why we have a panel to kind of have more expertise here. So yeah, if you don't know anything, just go the extra mile to find out for them. And just even if it's just to pop a message on your mentor group to ask if some of the other girls know that, then just do that. And then I expect of you girls to enjoy the journey to the most of the most, because this is where you make memories. As Sarah and Chris and Cameron said, you make memories that last a lifetime, and you build connections with people that you are going to rely on in your future. You are going to use these connections when you need help with something, maybe even if it's 2 or 3 years after that. Building the connections with everyone outside of Aristia, not just Aristia, all the raises and PSOs all together. So yeah, I expect of you girls to work hard, to give your all, and to push through the tired days, because you guys are gonna get tired. But then to kind of just encourage each other when you get tired, and when you see someone else is tired and you maybe have a little bit of extra energy, just to go hype them up and be like, no, we can do this, because at the end of the day, even if this is a challenge, which it is worth it, and you will reap the benefits of it, and you will have these group of girls that you share this connection with, that's going to last you a lifetime. And I want you guys to take initiative. That's also one of our Prim's main things that she is looking in the leaders of Aristia for her year. So you guys need to take initiative. If you have an idea, come to me and I will chat with you and kind of work with you through it. And then we can take it further and chat to someone else about it. So yeah, just then I will back you girls all the way and I will be in your corner. And even if there's things that does not have anything to do with mentoring, I will be there for you. If your boyfriend dumped you, you can come cry with me. If your crush asked you out on a date, I will be happy with you. So this is not just a Aristia related connection that we are building. We are making friends here, and you are forming that connection with everyone and getting to know everyone as well. So yeah, and I like a promise from my side is that I will check in on you guys and make sure that you are okay. As long as you keep the communication open with me, then we can help each other out on that side. When the workload is a lot, come chat to me, we can figure something out. And yeah, on that note as well, I am going to try to develop your leadership skills as well, because this is kind of what my role is. Help you grow and learn so that you can, I don't know, access your potential to be a better future leader for Aristia, because this is the stepping platform for us. So yeah, that's kind of everything from my side with regards to what I expect. Obviously, if we elect you girls, then we would go into more detail about this, and then we can have a lacquer chat about it. But then I want to quickly have a chat to you girls about the interviews, because I got a few questions about that. So most of all, I want you girls to be calm. I don't want you to stress out about it. It's really a very chilled thing. Bring your coffee, bring your blankie if that's going to make you comfortable. It's really not like a quiz to catch you guys out or anything. It's literally just me trying to get to know you girls better and on a more personal level than the forms that you filled in, because the forms are just a guide for me to start to get to know you, and it's a guide for me to see what questions I can still ask you, what I want to know from you. So that's basically it. And I want you guys to just come and be yourself, because I want to like get to know your quirky, lovable, weird sides, because that's the sides that we are going to use to the max. And another question that I got was about the time of the interviews. They are not going to be longer than 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes max. So yeah, you don't have to like prepare dinner before or anything like that. Yeah, so that's, if you have questions about the interviews, you can pop it to me, or you can ask in the Q&A session, which will be starting now. So if you have a question, please don't put your mic on just yet. Just raise your hand. You see that little hand thingy. If you don't know where it is, raise that, and then I will kind of just say who can go when, so that it just has a little bit of order. And then as well, if you ask a question, please direct it to someone. So there's Cameron from Equite, Sarah from Aristia, Chris from Pikke, and then we also have Margra, which was a mentor this year at Aristia. So, and if you have a question for me specifically, obviously I'm here as well. So yeah, just raise your hand and then I will tell you when to go. Here's my book. Okay, if no one's gonna have questions, I'm gonna ask questions, because we got a few on Instagram as well. Just so that you guys kind of know a bit more, I guess. So basically, one of the first things was, what was one thing that you wish you knew before you started mentoring? And I'm going to ask that to all three so you guys can go in the initial order that we went in.
I think one thing that I wish I knew going into mentoring was how I needed to expect my comfort zone to be broadened. It's very easy to live in your comfort zone, but when you're a mentor, you need to expect for that capacity to get bigger, because if it doesn't, you're not going to grow. I was very comfortable living in my comfort zone, but if you allow yourself to grow and really develop into the role, you're going to find that situations become so much easier. So awkward situations, I can small talk with anyone now. Sparkles or socials with random people you've never met, that's super easy. So you might walk into it feeling like, oh, I'm not actually good at this. I'm a little awkward. I'm a little shy. No, don't undermine yourself. Believe in yourself, because this journey is going to give you so many skills. So expect your comfort zones to be broadened and expect to grow. I think that's really important.
Yeah, so mine is very similar to Sarah's. When I applied at the end of my first year, not a lot of my friends, or actually at that time, not any of my friends got elected mentor as well. And I was at that stage very sad, and I was sort of confused to why this is happening. And looking back now to the friends I made through the mentorship program, the people that I still live with, the people that I still jol with, the people that I still hang out with the most and share my whole life with, basically. I just wish I had the willingness or the mindset of learning from the start and being open from the start to new relationships. Because if you go in with the mindset of none of my friends are there, I'm not going to have a lack of time, then you're not going to make the most of your mentorship journey. And I think I could enhance my journey if I had that mindset from the start. So that is really something I wish I had from the start.
Yeah, I would say being myself. At the beginning, before I'd met the newcomers, I'd thought, okay, I need to be this overly perfect mentor who gets straight A's, doesn't go out, just does just academics, and just has a perfect, well-balanced life. But I'm so not that person. And you think that's what they want. You think they want the perfect mentor, but they want a real mentor. So I decided that mid welcoming, I'm just going to sit to them, have a heart to heart, and be vulnerable with them, because that I believe we had a vulnerable conversation the one afternoon when everybody was split between the EDP sessions, etc. We had a long time, and I said, let's just talk. Let's just talk as human beings, as females, as whoever we want to speak as yourself, not as who you want to be seen as, who you are. And I think if you represent that yourself as a head mentor, as a mentor, then your mentees will be that way too. I hope that makes sense. Just be yourself. Cool.
I just wanted to add that I feel Cameron's her what she expected or what she wish she knew before mentoring, I can relate to that a lot. I almost didn't stand for mentor. I went and spoke with my head mentor before we had SU leads. It was like a training session in the middle of the year. And then I went to her and I was like, yo, I'm not the perfect leader. How can I even stand? And then she also just told me, you don't need to be someone that is perfect and has a balanced life and does everything correctly, as long as you kind of strive to just always be a better person and to be there for the people and not help them from the from the sidewalk into the river, and then you should be fine. So yeah, I just wanted to add that a little bit. So next question, After this one, I will ask if more people has a question, so you guys can put your hand up. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue. What is the best leadership skill you developed? Okay, Jamie, we'll get to you after this question.
I think the best leadership skill that I developed is being open and vulnerable, and that my vulnerability doesn't make me weak. I thought at first that all I have to offer is myself, but what if that's not good enough? And I really realized that when you're vulnerable with people, like Cami said, they respond to that. People want to see your true authentic self, and they want to know that they are seen and loved for their authentic selves. So I think the leadership skill that I learned was really to be vulnerable with people, but also how to deal with the messy chaos that is life and grow something beautiful from that.
Yeah, I think mine is very similar. So I'm going to say too, one, authenticity that Sarah mentioned as well. Just being yourself 24/7. You're not the perfect leader. No one is. Everyone makes mistakes. You maybe fail a module or two, or you make mistakes throughout the year. But as long as you own up to your mistakes, you learn from them. It's part of life. No one is perfect. I promise you that. Everyone sitting here has made mistakes. And then the other one is adaptability. You are going to have a time adjusting to the people in your mentee groups, because you assume you're this type of student, so your mentees are going to be similar. They're going to be completely different. You're going to get 15 or 20 mentees, and no two of them are going to be similar. You're going to have to approach all of them in a different way. But just being able to adapt, looking at them all individually and not just as a big group or a class that you have to look after, that is a massive thing for me. So you'll have to be able to adapt, but in saying that, do not adapt your values or your morals, just adapt the way you approach them, because you need to stay true to yourself.
Yeah, so for me, I've always been a very confident leader, but I think that I've been a confident leader in myself, but I learned the leadership skill of also being able to have that, having others be confident in you, because you as a leader need to be able to be a foundation for whoever you are leading and your mentees in this case. So myself, I've always believed in myself, but I saw the importance of having others believe in me too was something. And my second point to what I think I learned, what leadership skill was, that there's so many different leadership types, and each leadership type adds to the dynamic of a team. So I've always thought you're not a good leader if you aren't like me, an extroverted, tough leader. But I learned there's so much beauty in somebody who is so soft-spoken but can say the loudest thing in the room. So I think also learning to adapt, like Chris said, also adapt your leadership style to other people will definitely be beneficial. Cool.
Okay, thank you. So, Jamie, you can go first, and then Diana, you can go after her. Remember, if you have a question for a specific person, Karu, I think I see you. You can go after Diana. If you have a question for a specific panelist, you can direct it to them.
Okay, so my question is for everyone. Okay, so my question is, what's one thing you would have done differently, or like, is there a specific situation that you would have handled differently?
I guess. Do you want to go first? Because I'm still thinking.
Okay, I'll go then. I definitely think, and I mentioned it earlier, my mother hen type alter ego that I took on during this mentorship program, because I still would have done that. I still would have been for them, but to a much lesser extent. So yeah, just one thing I wish I'd done differently is not treat them but babies, but fellow adults who you're there to guide.
Okay, so one thing I would definitely change is constant communication throughout the year. I think that is something that you are very prone to at the start of welcoming. You check up on them because you see them in a physical space, but the moment that you split ways after welcoming, there's a tendency to lose contact because classes start, everything is a bit messy. And I kept up with some of my mentees at the stage, but not all of them. And just goes to show the mentees that I kept up with, I'm still good friends with. I still keep in contact with them. They're standing for Archon now, so it's just a crazy experience. But I'd say that is something, especially with the current situation, everything still being uncertain, is constant communication and not only sending messages on groups, but messaging personally. I think people also appreciate that much more than just a typical group message.
I think what I would have done differently is I would have tried to be a little bit more confident, and maybe a little bit of fake it till you make it. But I think that you sell yourself short when you don't believe in yourself. So I think I would have tried to believe in myself and my skills and my leadership skills and my ability to help people. And if I'd believed in myself a little bit more, then maybe I could have made more of an impact. But I think also the other thing that I would have done differently is I would have stood to be a mentor in my first year for my second year and not left it a year too later. But, you know, whatever.
Okay, Diana, you can ask your question, and then Caitlin, you can go after Karu.
Okay, so my question kind of relates to Jamie's a little bit, but I know is it Cameron? I think it's Cameron has answered it properly. But what mistakes have you made, and like how did you come back from them? And do you give any advice on like how to handle the situation?
Is this for everybody or just for me? I'm confused.
Anyone can answer. It doesn't matter because I know you have already.
Okay, so one way I would definitely approach it is not disregarding the fact that you are in a committee and also have a head mentor to sort of be that guardian to an extent. Not being afraid to go to them because most likely the other mentors are going through a similar situation. They're also uncomfortable. They don't really know what's happening, but they are afraid to say it, just like you are afraid to say that you're struggling. You don't want to be a burden to anyone. But that is the beauty of the committee. You are, like you say, a sisterhood. You can stick together, you can work through the difficult times, and then at the end of the day, smile together and enjoy the better times too.
One mistake that I made is not leaning on my fellow mentors more during welcoming, especially. I thought, you know, I needed to be like the perfect mentor, and I needed the other mentors to know that I was the perfect mentor as well. And that kind of made me not lean on them. And then when things got hard and I got tired, which you do, I didn't have anyone to lean on because I was too afraid of being like open and making those connections. So I think from the start, I should have tried a little bit more to lean on other people and build those connections. But also I tried to remedy that throughout the year, and I've actually made some pretty solid friendships with a lot of the mentors. So that's quite nice. So I would really say lean on your mentors from the beginning. You're all in the same boat, and you're going to have the most fun that way because you make really good friendships.
Marichem, can I add in on this question?
Yes, you can.
So I was 20 years old when I started my mentoring journey. So I had that 1 year of, I would say, additional maturity. And one piece of advice I'd give to people is don't focus on your likability. It is important to stick to Aristea's values, be approachable, you know, just focus on being a wholesome mentor. But don't adapt yourself to be what you think they need you to be. like Cami said, you need to be authentic. You need to be yourself, and you'll be surprised how they react back to that. If you just be yourself, you are vulnerable and say, listen, guys, and I remember it's actually one of the first things I told my mentees is I am here to love you guys through this weird and strange transition. You are going to go through ups, you are going to go through downs. But what you need to know is that I am going to be the consistent throughout that. So my piece of advice would be focus less on likability and focus more on stability. Focus more on showing up consistently for them and just letting them know that you will always be there for them. Like Cami said, you need to set boundaries to that, but they need to know that you are the safety net that will carry them through their next big challenge. And I think what's been a trend in the school is you don't have to be perfect. I found by being honest with my mentees from the get-go, I could actually communicate more tips to them because I could tell them exactly what not to do.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Next is Karu and then Caitlin.
Okay, hi. My question is specifically for Cameron. I want to know, like, was it difficult and how did you find a balance between being a reliable and consistent mentor without coming off as mothering your mentees?
Hi, Karu. You see, that was difficult. It really was a challenge for me that I had to tackle, and I had to do it as soon as possible. I think I did leave it for a bit too long though, because that really came about in May or so, and I realized, okay, Cameron, you've got to set this boundary, which was a bit too late. But basically how I found that is by being 100% honest with them. You'd have those few, 5 or 6 who message you 7 times a day, and I'm not joking when I say 7 times a day. I don't mind, but also it depends on if it's like it's small things, which you have to sit and speak to them in all honesty and say, listen, Sally, you need to be able to, if you don't know where a class is, you can message me, okay? But there's also a facilities app from Stellenbosch that you can download. Okay, if you don't know who to go to for your head of department, go onto your yearbook and find it through there. You give them practical solutions for them to deal with it themselves and equip them with the necessary information, because remember, they're coming in very blind and not sure what's going on. So you can't just throw them in the deep end. You need to guide them in slowly. So equipping them, I think, is very important for them to become their own adults. Saying, here's your yearbook, have a look at this. Here's an understanding of what the SRC does. Okay, you think you were unfairly marked? Here's the Academic Affairs Council. So you need to be equipped in yourself to equip them on how to do it. Also, it's going to be tough to separate that, well, for me it was, to separate that emotional boundary. It's all okay to do logisticals, you know, this place, that place, etc. But when you get a message or consistent idea from them that maybe they're going through something and it's difficult for you to do so, that's going to be a tough one. Because you can't say no to somebody who's looking for help or wanting to talk. But that's in you, and that's the learning that you go through to how to facilitate that, so that it's you. Remember, you aren't a psychologist. You aren't a psychologist. You aren't a mother. You aren't a parent, or you are a peer mentor. So there's always ways to go around about that, and you have to remind them also of that you're a mentor. It's all about setting boundaries and getting an understanding. So not just telling them you have to do this or do that, or I can't help you with this, but an understanding and a facilitation so that they can do it for themselves, with you being there if they need so. I hope that sort of helps.
Yeah,
sorry, it's very long-winded, but all right.
Okay, thank you very much for the question, Karu, and Cami for that brilliant answer. Caitlin, you are up next. And then if anyone else has questions, you can start raising your hands, then I will get the order right.
Hi, so this question kind of is applicable to whoever like wants to answer it, but it's more regarding how did you, if there was any, deal with internal conflict? Like if it was now between mentors or between mentor and mentee, like how would you go about resolving that?
Okay, I think I would like to start this one, but the rest of the people can add to how they dealt with it as well. I would like for you girls, if it's something really small, to please chat it out between yourselves. Yeah, drama is something that's not really necessary, and I feel like if you can chat it out between yourselves, but if it's a bigger problem and you guys really can't see eye to eye, then please come to me. I will be your mediator between you two. I am an objective person. I think that's the right one. Yeah. So I won't necessarily choose sides if I like someone better or anything like that. It's very much just what is the right situation or the right thing to do in the situation. Because at the end of the day, whatever is right in the situation has to be right for Aristia. So that's one thing. And if it's between the mentors and anyone else, then we can organize a mediating session between me and the head of the other committee. But please don't go to the other haka with your dramas and troubles and things like that, because everyone is quite busy, and I am there for you girls. So yeah, if anyone else wants to add to that, you are welcome to.
I think I can add to that. Firstly, as when you're a mentor, I think it's important to understand how the house committee works. When there are issues within your mentor group, or when you know that a newcomer has an issue, I think it's important to know that you can always go to your head mentor and understand how that relationship works so that issues can be dealt with properly. And then with mentor to mentor conflict, which I experienced quite a bit when I was a mentor, I think one mistake that I made is I took everything very personally and I got quite involved. Even though the situation didn't involve me, I was like, no, this is an injustice. Rather just don't get involved in little things and trust your head mentor that she's in control and she can and is capable of dealing with those issues. And then going from that, one thing that I did in my term as head mentor is I didn't want a repeat of that previous year. So I said to my mentors, we're not going to do this again. If there are issues, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it on that day, and we're going to sort it out. And then that night, we're going to go home, we're going to go to bed, we're going to sleep, and tomorrow morning, we're going to come back fresh and start again. And yesterday will be behind us. So I think having that mindset that every day is a new day, deal with issues when they come up, don't let them fester because then it just gets ugly. Sleep, come back tomorrow morning and be ready to start again and get pumped for Aristia again.
Okay, thank you very much, Say. That is, yeah, that's the way I want to deal with it. So yes. Next up is Hannah's question, and then I'm really sorry, I do not know who Miss M.R. Shawnee is. You are up after Hannah.
Okay, so my question is regarding the interviewing process. I'm not sure who I'm directing this question to. I suppose anyone could answer it, but I just want to know how it works. So does everyone that's applied for a mentor position get interviewed, or do you already start like the process before then and only interview certain people? I just want to know how the process works.
Okay, so we're going to answer this one. So we are going to have a kind of register or something that you can sign up which time works for you. And then if that time is booked and you also want that time, you are going to have to choose another one. So we don't select anyone or anything or have preferences before the interviews. I kind of just read through the applications just to kind of see your cute answers and things like that. But no, like, decisions or anything has been made. We only start discussing everything after the interviews, and then it will be myself, Sarah, Carly, and Joss on the panel. So we will all be there to ask questions and to listen, and then we will discuss afterwards who we think are best fit for the house and to lead the girls. So I hope that answers everything.
It does.
If
Thank you very much.
Okay. Then Miss Shaunae, you can ask your question.
Hi, my name is Margaret. I wanted to ask, like, how do you balance your academics and mentoring, and also especially for Cameron, because I think I have that motherly thing going on with me. So if you have that and then you have your own academics and then you have to mentor other people as well, how do you balance that in other societies and all of that?
Wow, Margaret. Digging deep. So exactly this I struggle with in my mentorship year, because I hate academics, frankly. I am not an academic person. I'm studying because I'm studying to get my degree, but not because I particularly am passionate about it. But I'm passionate about leadership and mentoring, etc. So I tended to find myself going towards the mentorship or head mentor, any type of leadership position, more so. So in the day, if I'd work for 10 hours, 9.5 of that would be leadership stuff, just simple stuff. But because I enjoyed it a lot more, and I gave a lot less time to my academics and to my well-being as a whole. But at the end of the day, and I say this very maybe tongue-in-cheek, and I don't know how well this is going to go down, but your mentorship is not going to get you your degree. Working hard is what's going to get you your degree, and putting in that time and effort. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You'll gain extra skills, co-curricular accreditation, extra skills along the way. But at the end of the day, your degree is going to pull you through. So be able to balance those two, to be able to see what, because as much as you might be giving to somebody else and to others and to a group, how are you benefiting from it and gaining to yourself? Because the more you give out, the less you're going to have to input into your academics, into your lifestyle, because you're not just a mentor. You could be a sibling, you could be a partner, you fulfill so many other roles. So you need to be able to truly, and I don't just say time management in terms of that huge concept that nobody really understands what time management is, but I say it in terms of understanding what is important to you and how you're going to go about that for your time and your lifespan, not for that 24 hours in a day we don't know whether it's real or not. How your time will work for you and for others. I hope that sort of answers your question. Margaret? Or you want me to elaborate some more?
No, it's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
No, I thought there were more people who had something to say, so.
Say, I don't know if you also want to add to that. I know you are also very motherly and loving towards people. Chris, you can add if you want. I'm joking, I know.
I think for me, I really had to sit down and prioritize everything that I had going on in my life. Because mentoring was really important to me, but I also, I actually like academics. So, and it was hard for me to balance everything at first. But once I started to prioritize things, I think I can't really give you an emotional answer. I can give you practical tips. So lists work really well. I try not to answer leadership or mentoring messages at a certain time. Like if I'm in class, I was like, no, I'm not on my phone, I am working. So I set aside times where I could do each thing. And And I think what's quite nice about mentoring during the year is that during welcoming, you're not in class, so that's fairly easy. But during the year, you really have the freedom to mentor in your own schedule. So you can meet up for a coffee in the NLC during your lunch break. It's not super, I wouldn't say it's super strenuous on your academics, as long as you prioritize, you time manage really well. Be open to learning to time manage if you don't already know how to. You will gain those skills, and you really can do it. I don't think it's not doable. So I wouldn't let that hold you back from mentoring if you're wary about it. But just go into it with an open mind and be ready to learn and adapt, like Chris said, and you really will be fine.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if Chris wants to add anything. If someone has more questions, you can raise your hand. I'm just gonna ask a question quickly that we got from the Instagram, just so that we kind of cover that as well. So someone asked if there was a training camp. Yes, there is. But I will speak to you guys about that just before we end off. And then, Jamie, you actually asked, what is one leadership trait a mentor needs and why? So I think everyone doesn't have to answer it, but if you feel like you want to, then you can.
Yeah, I think it's you are muted. But yeah, like I said, I think authenticity and adaptability are definitely the biggest things you need to look at. Just being yourself regardless of whether people are watching or not, because you are going to get tired of putting on a front every single day. And the thing is, if you are the perfect mentor throughout welcoming, then you're going to have to put on that same face for the rest of the year as well. So it's a lot better for them to get to know you as soon as possible. And also, you should know that not every single mentee is going to love you. And that is not an easy thing to realize, because I myself am a people's pleaser. I want to have everyone like me, but at the end of the day, that is not possible. You're not everyone's cup of tea, and you learn to be okay with that. You just have to be yourself, and the right people will like you back. And if they need you, they will come to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Okay, Kayla, you can ask your question, and then after that, I am gonna end off. But if you guys have any more questions, you guys can pop me a message. So Kayla, you can go.
Hi there. I think Chris kind of answered my question, but this is open to anybody. I just wanted to know if anybody's experience where you've kind of given your all, you've really put your best foot forward, and then it's not receptive to your mentees, like your mentees just like, because I know some people during O Week, they're like, oh, I don't want to be here. I just want to study. And like, why do I have to get mentored? And you're kind of putting your all into it, and they're just not receiving it, or they're just like nothing's happening.
Can I elaborate on that? Is that okay?
Yes, you can go.
Right. So it's not my experience, because I actually had the total opposite experience. So my head mentor when I was a mentor was the sports science mentor the previous year. And I think she'd had a few students. But throughout the whole of welcoming, not a single person showed up for her or anything. Yet she was still the best mentor I'd ever seen. Ever. I mean, to the point where she sat next to her mentors on a plane back home, her mentees, and two of them, and nobody greeted her. But she put in that effort and never stopped being who you are, because the minute you falter and take away from yourself and say, I don't want to be overly nice anymore, that's a change of your morals and your values. So never let anybody else dictate who you are, but also understand when you've put in too much and when you can also take a break from that. So that's a lot of discretion in saying, I will always give it my all, but I also know when to step back and never let anybody else determine how you feel and the effort that you put into it. Because at the end of the day, while you might not be directly impacting your mentees, these other people. So I watched Kelsey, who was my head mentor, put in all that effort with no mentees, but she was still amazing. So there's other people watching you, and see what you're learning for yourself, because you're going to learn a lot of tenacity if something like that happens.
Yeah.
To add on to what Cami said, is don't take it personally and don't stop taking initiative. I promise you, if only one mentee shows up to your Zoom call, you have a fat chat with that one mentee. It has happened to me, and you know what? More's going to show up the next time. Just know that you are there to be there what they need you to be. You can't have this picture about what being a mentor means, and then it's actually not what your mentees want. So Chris mentioned adaptability. Take welcoming and observe. Observe who your mentees are and really use the opportunity to think and anticipate what each individual needs. You're going to get mentees who are going to be Little Miss Independent and are going to think you helicopter them when you send them one message. And that is their experience. But then you're going to get a mentee who's going to be really offended if she doesn't hear from you every 2 weeks. So just use welcoming and really get to know your mentees.
Also, I would just like to add that I completely agree with Cameron and with Margra that you have to put your all in all the time, be kind and be what they need. But also, if PT doesn't attend, you can send them a message, ask them if they are okay, and then if they are not there, you focus on the girls that actually attend, because they are the ones that want to be there. Don't stop trying with the rest, but give most of your energy to the girls that are there, because you don't want those who kind of dwell off to feel like you've forgotten about them. So keep on checking in, but don't let that put you off from giving your everything to the girls that are actually attending, because that is a fact. A lot of girls are not going to pitch for some of the, I don't know, less fun things. Like, everyone's going to pitch for sparkles and not everyone is going to pitch for something else. But that's also where energy comes in. And if you have a positive attitude, then if one or two girls feel that positive attitude and stick with it and stick with you, then you know you did your job. So yeah, I don't know if someone else wants to add. Sarah, do you want to add? Not?
I think I would just say focus on the positive. You focus. I had a really big mentor group. There were 20 girls in my group, and 3 of them are still involved in OSDA today. And that's hard to process, but it also, I don't think that reflects on me as a leader. I don't think that reflects what I gave them. I still gave them my all. I still loved them so much. I still do. And 3 of them wanted to participate, and I love those 3 so much, and I'm so proud of those 3. So focus on the positive. Don't let the negatives get you down. One of my fellow mentors, when I was a mentor, lost her mentees, and when she asked them where they were, they turned up 2 days later because they were in Happy Oak. It happens. You have to roll with the punches and focus on, and at that point you kind of have to say, okay, cool, I'm going to focus on the 2 girls that are here, and I'm going to love them so much, and I'm going to give them my all. If you focus on the negatives, you're not going to have a good experience, and then you're going to be like, oh, well, I wasn't a good leader. No, you were a fantastic leader, and you gave them everything you had to give. So when you focus on the positives, you really can make the biggest impact. You're not going to make a big impact when you're focusing on the girls who don't want to be there. Put your all into the girls who actually really do want to be there.
Okay, so I think if your question was answered, then I just want to add that it is very exciting. It's very exciting to tell you guys that the first training for the mentors will be taking place on the 29th of September. So that's very soon, but we will let you guys know more about the details. Just keep that in the back of your mind, that it starts the 29th of September. So get ready and get keen. So yeah, with wrapping up, I would just like to say thank you again to all of the girls that came and asked questions, even if you just came and sat to listen in and to learn a few things. And thank you to all of the panelists that came and shared all of their experiences and expertise with us. And then once again, if you have any questions, you can just pop me a message. My cell phone number is on the mentoring form that you can fill in. And you can also pop me a DM on Instagram if you want. And if you have like a million questions that you still want to be answered, just tell me and then we can schedule a meeting or even have a video call or something like that. I'm very chilled. I'm not mean, I promise. So yeah, that is basically it. Enjoy the rest of your night and stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.